So then all your Mom and Martha got married and they had kids. Us.
Had what?
Kids.
Oh, kids.
Do you have any memories of any of your grandchildren or great-grandchildren that you...
Well, yeah. I've got a lot of memories about children and grandchildren. But, well, Aunt Leslie was not Aunt Leslie, your cousin Leslie was the first one. And I think I mentioned it last night that about her, it was, Martha's pregnancy was complicated by the fact that she has diabetes. Well, she went on a pump about a year and a half before she got pregnant, or before she had Leslie. And it was determined ahead of time that it would be a cesarean section because of the diabetes and whether the diabetes was stable at the time and everything. So it was all wrapped around in the safety of Martha and the baby. So when we went to, when they did the cesarean, I think they let us know when they went down there, and then called and said the baby was there and we could go down, and we went down immediately to see her and the baby, and it was just awesome. It was one of those awesome things that, one of a kind, not to be repeated. And the second one, and Martha did very well. She had was it a spinal that she ended up at both times, because Lauren was also cesarean, but she ended up with a really bad headache. And that goes with it sometimes. And she was in the hospital for a week or 10 days with both of them, which you would, that doesn't happen now, even with a cesarean. But hers was, both of those were special. And then I had a lot of fun as those kids were growing up, because we'd go down there, and as they were old enough, I'd play in the sandbox with them and play with them. I've always liked to get down on the floor with the little kids. So I think I think that kind of gave me a rapport that I was willing to get down there and mess it up with them. All of you, I should say.
Well, I have a memory of a time when my family went to Africa, and George and I were stuck with you guys. And George had a tantrum, and you pinned George to the ground, and he was strong, as a kid.
He was strong.
He was strong, and, you got on the ground, you pinned him down, and you said, "We're just going to sit here till you calm down." And George was like, "Ah!"
Yes, she was. You're right about that.
Yeah, he never was scared to get down and dirty.
And then I remember that having George when we were up at Pagosa, and he was too little to do anything, and we watched Shrek together every single day at halftime. And I loved it. I love Shrek. So, that's how things go. There was something else I was thinking about, back to, then so how much differences there in age between Jeremiah and Lauren. It's only a couple of years, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's 2 years, because I think it's pretty much every 2 years down the line. So when Jeremiah was born, and in the winter, duh, and, well, he was too, but,
Oh, I'm saying blame mom.
oh, you're blaming her. Oh,
It always comes back to.
but your Grandma Sonny and I went over there, and I don't remember if it was the first time that we came over, but I was driving on one of these trips in the winter when there was a blizzard going up the mountain. And I went blithely on, and I was scared to death driving up there. And we happened to get behind the snowplow, and I found out that really they had closed the road before, about the time we started up, and I didn't get that message. And I didn't have snow tires or anything like that. And I was the driver. So your Grandma Sonny and I, at great sacrifice, came to see you when you were first born. And then I remember, as you were growing up, you couldn't have been more than 3 years old, and you sat there at a computer. You were faced with a computer at a very early age, and you were mesmerized, and I don't know what all you were doing on it, but you didn't care if you sat in a wet diaper. So it was still when you were in diapers, or a poopy diaper, or anything like that. You were just
Well,
there.
I don't think it was the computer. I think that was just his personality.
Oh, you think? Well, I can remember trying to get him to come eat.
Well, he would play those word games and number games and
Yeah.
word games and number games and just.
So he,
Well, you've seen, you obviously, so you met your grandparents and your parents, and now you're a great grandma of how many?
Quite a lot.
7.
no,
No.
it's more than that.
More if you count.
See,
mom.
there's 6 of
Oh, yeah.
Swinnies, 6 Swinnies, and
Well, 7 Swinnies, kind of.
well, there's 6 Swinnies with the girls, and then there are the 3.
Well, kind of 7.
Then there's Jeremiah. There's
Sterling.
Sterling,
Oh,
and Sam's 2 children. So that's 9 great grandchildren, and now we have Dakota temporarily. So
So you've seen 6 generations of this family.
I have.
What does it mean to you to be a grandparent and a great grandparent?
It means everything to me. It's the happy part of life to see what, and I'm so grateful to live this long to be able to see how these little poopy pants kids have grown up to be responsible and loving adults. And the only real regret I have about my death, is that I won't get to see the generations coming behind. And so, I've lived my life. I've had a wonderful life. I don't regret anything, really. I regret some things that I don't think I did as well as I should have. I had not matured into the second half of life in time to do that. But I actually don't regret anything. So I've got my affairs in order, pretty much, and leaving messes behind that you younger generations have to clean up in this house, for one thing. But other than that, I don't fear dying.
Well, and I
So
think
does that answer your question?
Yeah. And I've always thought of this family very much as a matriarchy with you at the helm, you know. And I
Well,
think along with some messes maybe, you're also leaving a legacy of love and, you know, caring, and you're a very hands-on grandparent, you know. We all have memories of you traveling with us and pinning us down and
Rubbing our backs when we go
Yeah.
to sleep and
I think you've
singing
the
to
way you've
us.
lived your life, you've passed on a lot of
yeah.
beauty and joy and love.
Well, let me ask you if you remember the trip that we made, you three and I made alone from here to Tallahassee. Well,
I don't remember.
Because Mark and I were in Ukraine
Right.
wrapping up, well, we thought wrapping up the stuff with George, except Mark came back after a week and I was there for 6 more weeks. And
Right,
Grandma
so-
got you
that's right.
school
So you were
clothes
here.
and backpacks and
You were here for a week, and then I flew, but I didn't, it's not Tallahassee that I flew into. It was, I'd have to look at the map, I could tell from that. But anyway, your dad came and picked us up at that airport. But, so I'm traveling with 3 little kids that are ages, let's see if I can, you were just a toddler. Maybe you were 3
like
and
5.
5
Four is
and
probably about right.
7 or
Yeah.
something like that. Does that sound right?
no, they would have been,
Well, if it was 2001,
It was 2000. Wasn't
It was 2000. It was 2000.
so 8, 6.
So I
No,
was.
it was 2001.
Oh,
So
Well, you were down there from 2000 to 2002, weren't you?
Right, but we had already been there a year when we adopted George. Because we adopted him right before 9/11. And 9/11 was in it was
That's
September
true. Yes,
11th.
that's right.
So it
That's
would've
right.
been-
So
it would've been
whatever
9,
age,
7, and 5. 9, 7, and 5.
9, 7, and 5.
well,
Because Adela was in first
it would have been,
She had already done kindergarten in Tallahassee. So she was going into first grade, you were going into second grade, and you were going into fourth grade.
I was born in 92, so that's 9 years. And we, after August, well, before August, so it might have been 9, 7, and 6,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
yeah.
So anyway,
9, 7.
the
and
trip
4.
on the airplane with 3 children, young children, thank God I was so much younger, but we're going through the airport. I don't remember where we changed, someplace in Texas, of course, and we had to go from one runway to another in a hurry, and everybody had to go to the bathroom. So here I am saying, oh, now I've got 2 boys and 2 girls, and so she's okay, we can go together. Here I am sending my 2 grandsons into the men's bathroom by themselves with who else would be in there. But we made it. You did not get molested unless you kept it a secret. But that was a very anxious time for me to.
If you think about it, though, I don't know, I mean, that was before 9/11. So I had the plane ticket. The plane ticket was for me to fly back with them. with the three of them. We were spending time in Pine Top. Do you remember? The summer was so awful in Tallahassee that we spent some time in Pine Top. And then we were spending some time here, and while we were in Pine Top, we got the word that the paperwork had gone through.
No, I
we
don't
came
remember
over
that.
here,
Okay.
but the plane ticket was in my name, and back then you could just call and say, I need to change the name on the ticket, and I could just change it to your name, and that was that. Like, I just gave you, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and then, 2 months later, everything changed, but
Yeah.
at that time, I could just give
Right.
you the ticket.
But then, this was August, was it? Oh, it was before school started that your mom was over there for 5 weeks. So I had you alone in the daytime while your dad was working. And I was the one that chauffeured you to school. I took you shopping for school things. And the main thing I remember is I was supposed to get you all new backpacks at the start of the school year, and Jeremiah says, I don't want one. I don't need one. This one's okay. You need a new backpack, Jeremiah.
Right.
No, I don't want one. I don't need one. You pick out a new
I
backpack,
had
Jeremiah.
a perfectly functional backpack.
He probably still has the same bag.
Probably does. Another very
Yeah, because it works.
thrifty person. Not so much like some others, but anyway, it worked. We made it happen. I don't think anybody got neglected. And actually, I was there by myself when your dad went off down to, I think it could have been,
New York?
you were still gone. You were still over there. And he got called different places because of the work that he was doing. So he might be gone for a couple of days, and so I was there alone. And it worked. And I remember very, very, very clearly meeting you at the airport. Do you guys remember that? Meeting your mom and George at the airport?
Oh, I do remember that.
Do you remember?
I don't remember.
I remember looking down a long walkway and seeing the two of them.
Yeah. And we couldn't go down there. We couldn't go down that walkway. Well, your dad was there too, because he, wasn't he?
Well-
Yeah, I think so. I think you came back with George alone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Although your dad didn't Mark go over one more time?
No, he only went at the very beginning to sign all the papers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought he had to go a second time.
But I don't know, now I wasn't there, but what Mark said was you guys got in the Suburban and it wouldn't start.
Oh,
And he had to call our friends and borrow their Suburban.
yeah, I don't remember
And
that.
so you guys were late getting to the airport. And I thought you would be at the gate, and you weren't. That was back before 9/11. You could go to the gate. There was no security checks.
No, I do not remember going to the gate. I remember being waiting for you. Well, maybe you were coming out of the
Well, I was
plane.
coming down a long hallway,
Yeah.
and I was like, where is my family? They're supposed to be here. And you guys had made a big banner
Yeah.
that said, welcome home, George and Mom, and
So